Hello and welcome to the Daily Meal from Monday the 14th of June 2021. We have some good news about striker at the Den. Matt Smith has re-signed. Well, he's not re-signed yet. We've got this breaking news that he has agreed to sign the contract that Millwall put to him. So this is from news@den.co.uk. It says Millwall striker set to extend stay at the Den after accepting contract offer. Millwall are set to confirm a new one-year deal for Matt Smith after the striker accepted a contract offer. Smith, who turned 32 last week, was due to be out of contract on July the 1st, but will officially sign his new contract ahead of the start of pre-season later this month. Club skipper Alex Pearce also signed for the 2021-22 campaign this summer. Smith has scored 19 goals in 77 games in all competitions since joining from QPR in July 2019. So Millwall have signed a striker. Technically, it's one we already had last season, and one who wasn't really playing. He was coming off the bench, and he's broken his foot as well, which I hope is on the mend. It was a broken foot, wasn't it? So yeah. I think this is good news. It's a positive. You would assume so. I don't know what his wages are, but in terms of if we were able to use his wages and get another striker in, I don't think there's not a great deal of people knocking down the door to come and play for Millwall. So I think the half decent striker that we do have, who does actually score goals, we need to keep on to him, and maybe it's going to be one last year at this level for him, and then he'll have to drop down the leagues, but let's see what he can do. I think it's a good news for Millwall. So we've got one striker staying, and we've got one junior striker set to leave. So I told you yesterday about Abdulmalik, and we have so we've got this from londonnewsonline.co.uk, which is pretty decent summary of the situation as it is, getting straight to the point. And then afterwards I'll show you, we've actually had a comment from Gary Rowett about the situation. So let's read this first. It says Millwall reject the rivalry offer from Swansea for striker Abdulmalik. So I told you all this yesterday, but it's just, this is the clearest way it's all set out. It says Millwall have rejected a bid from Swansea for young striker Abdulmalik, which the Championship side view as a derisory offer. The 18-year-old is out of contract this summer, but has been offered a professional deal by the Lions. If Abdulmalik does opt to move on, then Millwall will be due compensation set by a tribunal if a package cannot be agreed. And the South London press understands that the Swans' attempts at a deal fall massively short. Millwall have seen 3 players move on from their academy in the last 3 seasons for compensation in excess of 2.5 million. So that's just under $1 million per player. Was that 800,000 per player? 700,000 per player? Abdulmalik is seen as one of the most talented youngsters to come through their youth setup for a long period of time, and the South London club want to make him an integral part of their first team plans in the future. Abdulmalik was a part of the Lions squad which reached the FA Youth Cup quarterfinals in the 2019-20 season, eventually losing to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. He has been part of Kevin Nugent's under-23 side in the campaign just completed. The Daily Mail have claimed that both Rangers and Arsenal are also keen on Abdulmalik, and add that the attacker is ready to move on. So this was the situation I brought to you yesterday. Pretty much, this is a pretty good summary, very, very good summary of the situation. There's no fat on this, just the right amount of words to tell you what's happening and what's going on. Really good piece there from Richard Cawley. So let's move on now. So today we've got comments from Gary Rowett. So this is also from londonnewsonline.co.uk. It says Millwall boss spells out situation with Swansea City target Abdulmalik. Gary Rowett has made it clear he wants Abdulmalik to stay at Millwall and reckons the young attacker has a good chance of making a first team breakthrough. The Lions have rejected a bid from Swansea for the 18-year-old. Abdulmalik has been offered a new contract by the South Londoners, but is due to be out of contract at the start of July. Millwall feel the Swans package is derisory. Abdulmalik has been one of the leading lights in their academy. Rowett told the South London Press, "I know he is a player that the club have offered a new deal to. He's a player that we think highly of. He has done really well in the first season at under 23 level." So he's playing at under 23s, even though he's 18 years old. So most of the other players, they will probably have like 3-4 years on him. 5 years at most. And don't forget they're allowed to have 3 players who are over under 23. So they're allowed to have 3 players who are older than 23. You could have like a 34-year-old, 30-year-old playing. So he's 18. He's playing against players a lot older than him, and he's doing all right. So he has trained with the first team on numerous occasions. We don't want to sell our younger players. We want them to be like Danny McNamara, Billy Mitchell, Tyler, and Hayden, coming through and affecting our first team. It's not something we want to happen. But we're also aware that there are a lot of clubs trying to attract the best young players at other clubs. That's just the nature of football. There are different ways to do that. We think he has a really good future and could challenge for our first team. It shows what good work the academy are doing. What you can't change is sometimes a young agent trying to convince a young player that suddenly there is something better out there. We'll continue to keep working hard with all these players to make them see their best opportunity of first team football is here at Millwall. We've proved that. I would love to see Abdul stay at the club. He's got a little bit of work to do to take that next step. But in the FA Youth Cup run, he got some fabulous goals. And there was some great footwork around the box. We watched a lot of him and monitored his progress. He has the ability to produce at first team level. When that is, will be down to the player and how quickly it develops. We want to have that pathway open. If a player decides they don't want to stay and it comes down to compensation, then you can't do anything about it, really. John Berylson, the owner, certainly wants to see the work our academy is doing come to fruition in our first team, not someone else's first team. So there you go. Yes, Gary Rowett saying what I think most of us agree with, but there are some people online, some Mill fans saying, well, you could have played these players. You could have played Aidan Muller. You could have played Abdulmalik. You could have played some of these younger players in the last 3 games of the season because we had nothing to play for. The only thing is that you were trying to get higher than you finished last season. I don't know if Gary Rowett had a bonus due or whatever if he got to a certain level, but he was desperate to do that, and then he was like messing around, putting Romeo's as a centre back instead of Aidan Muller or Alex Pearce. Well, Alex Pearce is kind of old, but so he's saying like. And the thing is, it's not as if our strikers are the ones that we have in the first team are lighting the world up. They're not. They're actually so bad that you're playing 2 wingers up front. You're playing Mason Bennett and Jed Wallace up front. So what are we talking about here, Mr. Gary Rowett? Yeah, I don't know. So maybe maybe like there's a lot of people saying like, oh, this is greedy. Like he says here about Rowett says as well about the agent, young agent trying to. What was the quote? Where's the quote? So you can't change it. Sometimes a young agent trying to convince a young player that there is something better out there. So Gary Rowett saying, kind of intimating that it's the agent, but what if they're saying, you know, they're seeing what's happening with like Isaac Olofi and all these other strikers, all these other young players who not really getting a decent look in. What if they're seeing the situation there and thinking, oh, you know, I don't think we're gonna, under this manager at this team, because the guy's training every day. I assume almost every day, so he's around him and he must know like the situation that's going on there. So maybe he's like, I haven't got a chance here. I haven't got a chance. They're playing Bodvarsson, they're playing Bradshaw, they're not playing Matt Smith, who actually scores goals. So what chance have I got? So maybe that's in his mind as well. Who can blame him? Who can blame him? I don't know. So there you go. Gary Rowett has spoken on the matter. We will see how it develops. But we have signed Matt Smith. We have at least one striker who can score goals. And we have Jed Wallace who can also score goals. And Mason Bennett is... Scott Malone has set Mason Bennett a target of scoring 10 goals next season. We'll see how he gets on. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.